The following 2 videos are concerning the prior 4 videos, A. Jackson Irvine, A. Irvine, that is. 3 of those I would count. It's not a problem though, yeah, but it's just also a matter of fact that the number 3 is so very important in Catholic terms, albeit also in Protestant ways. So it's concerning both next videos are doing a closer look onto people mentioned. I first consider the grouping, the rock grouping, Pirates Weimar. Let's hope they are all well. We might need them for a criminal law case, firstly, and secondly, if it indeed was the case, and that can be confirmed or it doesn't, that my idea was right, this is somehow weird, right or wrong. Then the question is, where is the missing part? I'm not talking about the daughters and the 2 sons. No, I'm talking about the women. There were 2. Because, why am I doing that? Because it's very much about building do the total opposite, yeah. A opposite rule that would again take me, my family, especially my mother and my father, as an example for doing exactly the opposite, no matter what. So if it indeed was the case that my mother found that woman odd, not Sigrid so very much, albeit a little bit, but they were colleagues, both primary school teachers. Sigrid Wie, the dark-haired, whitish colored one, and I mentioned her though in one of the in the video streak that considers the binder, the cravat, the tie of my brother, was it his, the orange colored one, when I considered who might be a fit to that cravat, and the also halfway is not really eluding hashish green jacket, a men's blazer. So Sigrid, okay, I was already introduced, again in the very health center by that professional, a masseur and so on, when he was talking about his cat called Quincy. So I immediately got bad mooded, because if he was telling me something, then he could have done so, but he didn't. So that cat is named Quincy, and it has that color and is living there. Aha. So then the other woman in Herrn Wie's life was an affair indeed. It was indeed an affair, and that woman I hardly remember, but indeed might be the case that it is the very same, really, rescued over here. Was there any reason? So prior in GDR times, it was the case that the GDR might have put criminals from the West under custody, but for certain not murderers. So people that went here till 1989, as far as I know, which is not much, of course, was securing political, otherwise thinking people that had no chance in the West. But taking simply a murderer here into custodies, put her into responsibilities, albeit she might have lost them and now is searching on new is on the searches of getting new ones, is a non-doer. This is also a question: how could things be led that far? Wasn't it for the fact that the media, the German media only, is always needing a new stuff and new things also. So that one I saw 2 days ago in a alt rosé jacket or what, uh, in her same fashioned hair, and she was hastily rushing to there. That one might be another case for becoming another an Imke. Being somewhere, having been baptized or anything, because that color is firstly connected to my former Taufkleid, Protestant baptism, and to a dress that I indeed wore. I did that dress wore indeed on the very occasion of a failed blast in a building in the UAE, I would assume. Because I simply did not sit long enough in the cinema film, which was with I seldom don't watch films to an end, but that one really I could not watch it. So I would leave the cinema. The two Yemenis would remain in the cinema, and I would go to Starbucks. Some days after, or few weeks after, I would leave the country, having had to realize indeed here is also nothing for me here. So that woman, if it was her, then then so my mother did not like her because of the ado that woman would make when they were all gathering to sing to probe for music pieces for the next rehearsal in church. So that woman would appear all of a sudden as if out of mere nothings, and managed to grab herself a man that, understandably though, might have been a little bit frustrated at home. He also he would sit at nighttime in the church indeed, and I did not know. I was told. Me and that woman, I met her in the Erfurtian Homelessness Care Center, and still the question is open: who let that weird one that was totally out behaving, the dark-haired one, I don't say little, the smaller sized one, the less tall one. No, or was it the other? I don't really recall. They were both. I don't know. So who let them? Let's for the time being, let's speak in plural. Who let them to behave in those ways? I don't know. But I have to say, my mother also then, she did not recognize her, which is odd, because it would totally fit well if that person, and I already had written it it would fit into the context of the text LSD, which talks about brandings, because it was only possible to drag my mother onto those shores and keeping her in a clinic or what, upon at first having her drugged. She as a non-drug addict and for certain not a non-smoker and had nothing to do with that. So that would have been interesting if that indeed had been the same woman. I can only say my mother disliked that person, and if I recall her report, kind of like, Imke, how do you find that? I must say, I did not find that story too interesting. But people in our village, and this is described already in the very first version of the core criminal complex. Described there, and it is of course somehow totally important to, apart from economic reasons, to let that have been written by someone else. So I was never explained who this Frau Kotlarov. It is also she is no, it is she's in the text vocab, in the list vocab. It speaks already RAF to my taste. So if Tina Lücke is still around or available in Hamburg, then introduce her to that woman and ask her if she recognizes her, and let send her a photo or a short video of that woman over to Frau Ursula Lücke aus Bücken, and to the son and father if still living. Yeah, this is that. And then I would be introduced to that woman and put into dangers me as a person, together with Andreas Hartenbach, though, being the only one in the village, then having been able to play the church organ. Later, we were followed by the brother of another a brunette, but that one I think he did not proceed too well and too long. Or maybe yes, I don't know, but he was thinking he gets there's something in the church when we would meet there 1 or 2 times, and it was a kind of, as before with Andreas, it was a kind of changeover, yeah. So I had nothing to talk to him but to the prior one, because we were closer. So I want to suggest, and I have reason to really believe that because there were communications otherwise, that a person that has a figure that is already represented here in this country in very important institutions, figure-wise, there were two that would have been a fit, excluding my father, that would likely to having assisted that very person that already had aroused a negative attention with my mother, and then they were already against my mother, understandably though, on grounds of those very murky businesses built up, be it child pornography, be it merely storming into neighbors' houses and leaving messages and illnesses there, and having chosen certain girls from here and there, and having given them kind of responsibilities in finding other children, and so on and so forth. I suggested Friedrich Lüthe for that, past-wise, and who else I have already forgotten. So I suggest that indeed it might have been the case that Javier simply was put to death, as simple as that. Was that true? Then this would have happened. The 2 women would have been same leveled. One had not have anything to do with them anyway, any longer, albeit 2 sons were being born, and the other wanted, had, and then was finished. Something like that, I would presume. All I can say is that it was only said Javier is now living with his girlfriend, with his affair, but he was never seen ever after. I'm not certain in which village he was living, but it indeed might have been close to that very village, the church of which was, when I got there, already stripped of loads and loads and loads of organ pipes, which is not so very much astounding, because the church was if, so the organ was playable, but some pipes were missing. As if from that area, but one of the teachers out of that brunette streak was coming from, as if already there a kind of a second a Bücken, with our two-towered church, the only one in that area, the only one with that history, and the only one adjacent, therefore, to Bremen, just and be just architectural wise. As if there already had been the needs for establishing a second a village called Bücken, which is totally astounding because that village was halfway empty. There are only fields, and few farmers' houses and the church. It's a characteristics of that area. By that time, already had a so-called Kommune, as if already then back in the 60s had been moved from elsewhere into our village, into the adjacent part of that village, which is called Altenbücken. They would choose also a kind of a farmer's house for that. From where? I don't know. So, having stolen and kept that first version of the reconstruction of the Cochrane Mill complex, albeit me here videotaping if the videos are being lended to there, is a kind of a non-doer if also they should expect, here is really something. Maybe one should bring security authorities to works and computer savvies to works doing putting text into pictures, so to speak. This already I formulated in a quite important post, which I therefore would PDF and put it on LinkedIn early on. End of 2019 I was ready with that. So the next video is already ready. It is on other people less high than one could assume if music context is concerned. If music context was high, but yes, it is because it is on Schall and on tones and on it's music. It's music. So not everybody can compose, but many people can play what they see. And can read what they see and understand what they see, if trained. Put on the law context, likewise. Deutschlandfunk, they would understand that, So, there is music. She's working for the Musikhochschule. So, and for the not name doubler, but name doubler, interesting thought. One has to include, of course, psychology, and here Svenja Taubner would join in. Having worked already on the matter of violence. I explained the difference between vis compulsiva and vis absoluta. So of course it is possible to commit a 240 StGB without raising even a hand. She would choose for her first boyfriend no other person than a person responding to the forename Paul. She never asked me anything about such a thing as an escalator accident. But likely she was in the nose. So her not her first boyfriend though. So a boyfriend she would have in Bremen. That one was called Paul. And St. Pauli, yeah, I just last summer, recently, I might have heard the name of the company before, but I did have no contacts. But the other way around, as I did already mention. So one of their former money givers, I could show the video now, but somehow, even with 6 handies, I'm not really able here. So it is, yeah, it was a gray-haired person that is really a look similar to the later university president of Erfurt. And this might have, this needs an answer, and I will do a video in the somewhere when I can cycle when it is warm, and I will do a video outside. So, the money giver of theirs looked like that one, and that one I had seen already, likely time frame wise it would fit. Before the horse stable, though, yeah, horse stable, though prior a horse stable building in which MF4 was situated, carefully and beautifully renovated. The one with the adjacent garage terrace, from which, if one would have stumbled over, yeah, that might well have been it. I don't hope that the mother of likely the Nega girl that had appeared in unfavorable contexts several times in her life would now seek a kind of task to enter things. It's my text, and it ends before courts unless security authorities decide otherwise, and not an Iranian-looking appearing woman doing upon passing by. So that one also over there, but just recently she was here. So do they here storm in or what? So those are the surroundings here. Yeah, I can only reiterate I'm here misplaced. So they might have understood the word farika, which is albeit Arabic, and they might have understood Madame Riem, who ordered for me already an Arab, but I had already an Iranian, and I cannot do do here the Crisoldi Culturas. This I strongly object. So attempt that, and you have committed a rape. Which is not so very much expensive, but in the whole context one could easily argue an attempt of murder, because likely thereby looks would be changeable. Yeah, on grounds of the red-haired, now really a gynecologist, a Polish one though, from Bad Nauenburg, as if that was a correct information, with an own horse, yeah. She did this already, a kind of preparation or what. That was maybe, that was, has already been done. So. And had I not done those city connections, then we still would be on murkier grounds, on less clear grounds than it is already clear. Yeah, so certain people here put themselves into positions either on no grounds academic wise at all, or on very very solid grounds, and would gather around, or had already brought with a kind of theater trooping or what, in order to drag here people really into death dangers, and do them harm, and misdo fates. So these are the prior videos for or what. No, some I also attached some thoughts as regards that to Eric Smith. Yeah, okay. So the next video is to follow, and this will be probably the last one on IRVINE. in this goal.